Noise department.
I like to bring good products to people that make amazing cocktails and are that amazing mixologists. And I think showing them things that are neat and different, that are still made with care and, you know, have a cool story is the best part of like my position in my job.
This is Thirst Trap, a beverage industry podcast. And I'm your host, Tracy Bradley.
And I am her guest star today, Lauren Kennedy.
She works for Hoteling and Company, and she's also a dear friend. And she has brought us some goodies today that I'm very excited about that I don't know anything about, so I can't wait to hear all about this.
And I'm super excited to be here today because Tracy and I took our friendship from work people to friends, and it's been amazing. And I'm super excited to be part of this amazing experience. And I'm always happy to drink with you.
I'm happy to drink with you, and I'm happy that you get to be my first ever guest on my podcast.
It does feel very special.
One reason why I picked Lauren to be my first guest was women in the industry. And more importantly, women in any industry. I mean, if you're a woman in any industry and you know your stuff and you're good at what you do, and you get stuff done because that's what women do, I'm all about it.
And I think just when you see women in this industry, particularly the ones that are like working hard and showing up, like those are the ones you want to be your friends because you're grinding that same grind because it's sales, right? But it's a small business. And I just think my goal in my career in this business is to help people that are on the other side come to this side when they're ready to be being out all night or behind the bar or whatever that looks like, out behind a different business and come to the side where you're selling or organizing or whatever, but also making sure that women are supported and successful in this industry so that they will stick around and move up the, ladder. And it's happening way more. I started in 2008 and they had hired a lot of young ladies, but now I really see a lot of those ladies in higher manager and executive level positions. And that makes me feel good because when I started, it was not like that.
Yeah, there's one in particular I'm not going to mention right now. Hopefully I can get her to come on the pod.
I would love that.
I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah, like her career is like temp to executive, and it's like so great and crazy. It's such a great story. So yeah, I hope you get to have her on too.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun business where people, and I saw this thing where it says if you are in hospitality, you're serving God, which is kind of true because everyone feels like a God when they're ordering. But I think that is true, and it's a special skill, and hospitality is taking care of people. And I like people being kind to each other. So it makes sense that I ended up somehow in this business.
So, Lauren, what brings you by today?
Well, I brought 2 brands new to my portfolio at Hoteling and Company, and 2 things that I thought we would enjoy, but also find very interesting and have lots to talk about.
So let's dive right in.
Awesome. Where should we start?
I see a pink spirit and a brown spirit.
So pink is a mezcal. The color, they take this beetle who, if I say the name of it, I horribly.
Butcher it.
Yes, so I just don't. Which gives it a natural pink color. It was used to make lipsticks and dyes.
It's pink Beetlejuice.
That's right. I mean, I told you we'd have a lot to talk about. And its name is Una, which in Oaxacan language means woman. And then they donate 10% of their proceeds to essentially the Susan G. Komen of Oaxaca, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And it's, pink.
And it's pink.
And it's pink.
We like it.
I mean, I've been in this business for a very long time, but some marketing things ring very true, and I feel very seen and attacked at the same time.
And what is this lovely gem that you've got in your hand?
This is Kavalan whiskey. It's from Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Mm-hmm. And it was the first Taiwanese distillery built, and they built it in 9 months.
9 months.
Yes, from getting the land, clearing it, to making their first juice and barreling it.
Is it similar to a Japanese whiskey, or is this completely
This is kind
original,
of like its own category.
delicious?
Because Japanese whiskey is kind of lighter in
I
style.
found it to be like smokier and more like a Scotch.
Well, they sent a gentleman there to, because I have some Japanese whiskey in my portfolio. They sent a gentleman to Scotland to learn how to make it. And then in many Asian cultures, it's the highest form of flattery to replicate what someone that you think is doing the best has done it. So to try to like perfectly replicate that,
Okay.
where I think that this is cool because it's totally different than what you would expect from a whiskey if you compared it to Japanese whiskey.
So it's not peaty.
No peaty.
How would you describe it?
Christmas fruitcake, but I've never had one. So it's a really
Never
bad
had a
description.
Christmas fruitcake?
I haven't, but it's a really bad description.
Okay,
But like,
I know what you're getting. For
but you know
Christmas
what I
this
mean?
year?
Like that. I've seen them on TV. I can kind of imagine what they taste like. They have like cherries and sometimes pineapple. So there's tropical fruit. There's like kind of darker fruits in here, but this is like a really unique, cool thing. So the global ambassador came and worked with me. And then one of the blenders, who was a young lady, about 30 years old, Ann and Caitlin, and taught me all about the brand and sampled me on everything in the line, and then did some education for people here in town. So it was cool to hang out with them, to learn from them. And also we went to Din Tai Fung and they ordered all the food, and it was the most amazing experience.
A female blender.
Yes. So the master blender is a gentleman, but Anne, and her last name will probably butcher. So Anne is the on the blending team, and then they have an intern.
Okay.
So when they came to the U.S., they came for a spirits competition, won an award. And then I took them Sunday through Wednesday to see accounts and got to spend time with them and take them to dinner. And they're both really, really lovely ladies. And it was like a really, really cool experience. And obviously like made me fonder of the brand. And this bottle is like the shape of the tallest building in Taiwan.
I was going to say that bottle looks like a building.
Yeah. It was the tallest building in the world until something bigger was built.
That's awesome.
Should we try that?
I think that we should.
I think we should try
I'm
this first,
very,
because
very
has
curious.
a more, the mezcal is going to have more of a like earthy, funkier mezcal-y taste. That's going to be our smoky. So it's going to be easier, I think, if we go.
Okay. If we go brown to pink.
Yep. Which
All right.
usually doesn't make sense in tasting spirits, but we're doing it. So
Oh my.
I learned so much when I was with them. Like it rains 210 days in Taiwan.
Okay, so for my listeners, what I'm getting in here is a lot of floral notes and some fruit on the nose.
Like
I haven't even tasted it yet.
tropical fruit.
Just some tropical fruit. Yes.
We totally forgot to cheers.
Oh.
The second sip's the real defining
All right, here we
flavor
go.
sip. Cheers.
Second sip. Cheers, my friend. Okay, she is correct. The second sip really opens it up. I'm getting some heat, but not a lot of heat. And it's just very, very flavorful. And it's just beautifully done. I don't think that I've had whiskey that good in a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's hard to compare it to any other
I can't compare it to
whiskey because
I'm
it's so
floored.
it's so unique. So they said 210 days it rains. Obviously, it's really humid climate. It's in a jungle. It's very remote. They built the whole building. They can only rack 5 high because the weather is so intense that they said there's violent interaction between the alcohol and the barrels. And so they couldn't make something 25 years old, or else they'd have like a strip of jelly on the bottom of the barrel when they were done.
Oh, yeah.
So really cool that they can do that like quickly. But this is like 8 years old, I think she said. So
Okay.
I'd have to double check, but it still sees age. It's just drinking like it would be much older if it was, I think, like a Scotch in terms of color and all those things.
Okay, so this is the Kavalan classic single malt whiskey that we're trying right now.
They first privately owned, super fast build, just like really cool about the climate, like interacting so much and changing like that as a variable. And I think it's cool because they're kind of doing their own style.
I'm blown away again. Taiwanese whiskey. Wow.
I know. I kind of like to find different and obscure things because, as you know, I'm not a mixologist. I'm a salesperson of this industry, which I really love my position in the wheel of it all.
And the knowledge. I mean, you just have all the knowledge. You don't have to be a mixologist or a blender.
I like to bring good products to people that make amazing cocktails and are that amazing mixologists. And I think showing them things that are neat and different, but are still made with care and, you know, have a cool story is the best part of like my position in my job. And you get to taste things way outside your price range.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, let's talk about mezcal. Unless there's anything that you care to add about?
Just Cavalon's delicious. If you see it, you should buy it. If you see it in a restaurant, you should try it.
Where are a few restaurants in Las Vegas where you can get this lovely gem?
So at Aria, they have a Cavalon Old Fashioned with oolong tea at Din Tai Fung.
Mm-hmm.
And our bill there was not crazy. Like I would pay to go with my own money and take someone. The cocktails were $15 on the strip at Aria.
Okay.
They're making the dim sum dumplings like behind glass, so you get to see that, which is cool.
I didn't know that there was a place on the Las Vegas Strip that you could get a cocktail for $15.
I was shocked myself.
Wow. I am very shocked.
I know. I looked at it and I was like there with a couple customers and he's like, we charge $16 for ours and we're using like simple like sugar and these people are using oolong tea. And I was like, yeah, you'll need to step your game up. But the food was really, really great. And at the end, they gave you a dumpling that was filled with chocolate. Warm, delicious chocolate.
Are there any cool like downtown bars that would carry this?
This is probably going to be at Oak and Ivy. It's at Double Helix, Delmonico's. In terms of retail, liquor lineup, Total Wine has a very long selection of them. Liquor lineup had a Private Barrel, the Cask, just a couple places to name around different parts of town.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we are done on that
we'll
note,
move
let's
these
talk about
for later so we don't
this lovely pink bottle of mezcal that you have for us.
This is artisanal, like tradition, hundreds of years of tradition in making. They're making it like up in the mountains. It's very rustic.
And it's made from the hearts of the agave?
Yes. So it's similar to tequila and they're both come from agave plants, but tequila can only be made with Weber Blue agave. And it can only be made in 5 states in Mexico to be called tequila. Those are their regulations. They do a program where they take bartenders for an immersive 7-day and you go and you work at a bar in Oaxaca. You work up at the Palenque and then you also like work in part of the like shipping and all that. So you're seeing the whole process of everything, which just sounds really cool. And I'd really like to go on that trip.
Well, I think that you should go on that trip. And if you get a +1, you should take me with you.
I know. We might just have to bully our way into it because like I said, I'm not a bartender and it's for bartenders. And maybe they would let me skip the bartending day because I also do not speak Spanish. But I'm cute. So
I'm also cute.
Yeah. We could get by.
So we have that going.
We could get by and we'd make a lot of money. So mezcal is different than tequila. And it can be made, there's like hundreds of varieties of agave plants. And these are wild farmed, which means they're going out and finding these agaves, but they're taking a long time, like Blue Weber agaves to grow. Some of them are like 25 years old before they get harvested and grow out of a mountain. And then the process for making the liquid is different than tequila. In tequila, they're roasting it in an oven or an enclave or any of those type of things to do their cooking. With mezcal, they're doing a pit that they dig out of the ground. They line it with tarps, like blue tarps from Home Depot. It's super rugged, remember? They dig this big pit. They chop the piñas so it's the same, right? So they're just roasting that one part. They're cutting all the leaves off. They're dumping it into ground and they're layering wood, agave, and then they're covering it with tarps, blue tarps, and leaving it for a certain period depending on their family's traditional recipe. And then they're going and crushing those, usually using a Tahona stone wheel still with a donkey because they're up in the mountains. And then making these into funneling it into like a milk jug top cutoff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like super, super rustic. And I think it's the most magical spirit because of that. Like, I think it's so cool because we're like, oh, this is so pretty. And then these people are like, you know, like have been doing it and they know the proof by like shaking it and then squirting it into a cup.
But this has been tradition for a very long time.
So I also feel special that we get to, right? No, I know they know what they're doing, but like to me, that's like so amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it's special that we get to like try this. And I'm happy that people have grown into tequila so that they would explore mezcal.
And I love that there's even downtown, there's a couple of little mezcal places.
There's 2 downtown. There's 2 in the Arts District.
In the Arts District, right? Aren't they like right around the corner from each other?
Yes, and I don't even care because they're both fantastic. One has
I've never been to either of them.
Some really great cocktails. They both have a good selection. One of them has probably the best selection in all of town. It's like hundreds of different mezcals. Really, really cool. Just so if you want to like go explore something, it's a nice way to like go and talk to them or just even look at how many there are. And it's amazing. So I'm happy that that category is being lifted up on the back of tequila growing. So cool stuff.
We're going to try some mezcal. Pink mezcal.
See, more smoky. And the smokiness is coming from the roasting of the agave in the pit with the wood rather than using the oven.
Okay, this is really nice. And it's very smooth, you guys.
And it has a kind of earthiness flavor to it. And I'm usually not a fan of that. But I love tequila and mezcal. And earthiness in right doses is all right.
I'm going to sip this because it's worthy of sipping, not of shooting.
Yeah.
But this is lovely.
And most mezcal, I would say, is probably made for sipping. And then I think also it can be used in cocktails. But I think this is smooth. It's cool. That earthiness, the pink. There's just so much fun going on here.
There's a lot of fun
and saving
going on
boobs.
here. Yes. And saving boobs.
I mean, everyone can get behind that.
Yes.
Cheers to our second sip. Okay, so also we should talk about how you taste hard liquor because it's different than tasting wine.
Well, there's 2 ways. Depending on the type of whiskey, you can either hold some of it under your tongue, and then you wait for your mouth to salivate a little bit, and then you swallow it. And that way, all of your taste buds are getting the full effect of the whiskey.
Right, and being like activated, and the alcohol is kind of like the first thing. So it just like wakes them up.
Yes. And the second way is also to hold it in your mouth, just not under your tongue.
Right. And roll it and just take a little sip first.
Just little sips, not big gulps.
And then the second sip is like really, I always say on mezcal, it's the third. Because at first it's kind of like people are expecting it to be tequila. And they're like, oh, whoa, this is smoky. That's not what I expected. And then they taste it and they're like, okay. Then they taste it again and they really start to get the flavor profile you're talking about. Other than that, they're just like, I just taste smoke. But I understand that. Like, I'm not a big time, like, I don't like Lafroig style, like big peaty bombs. Not my jam. I sold something called Peat Monster and I was like, I can't even try it. But it's like got great artwork. It's amazing Compass Box product. But yeah, please don't make me try that.
I mean, I love Scotland and I've been to Scotland and I've been to distilleries in Scotland and I have Scottish friends. But I am not a fan of like a Lafroig type scotch.
No.
I have never been and I never will be.
Peat just ain't for me.
But if that's your jam, then that's your jam. I'm just talking about my jam.
I always say, you know why there's so many different body types at the strip club? Because everybody likes something different. It's the same thing for alcohol. That's why we have buttery Chardonnays and dry Chardonnays and crisp Chardonnays and soft but not buttery. I don't know. I could keep, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different styles.
California Chardonnay versus Washington State Chardonnay.
Yes, exactly. Cheers.
Cheers, friend.
Yeah. No, I think like I'm happy I fell ass backwards into this business because it's really cool and there's so many different things you can be doing within the industry. Um, but I didn't know anything when I started and I just kind of have learned things. But the cool part is I don't feel like I've really learned them. So that's fun. But I do know all this knowledge, so I don't really feel like it, but I feel like it's because we talk about it all the time in our jobs.
Just
That like my sister had me doing consulting for people and when I was unemployed and they were like, "You're an expert." And I was like, and she was like, "No, you're an expert. You've been doing this over 10,000 hours." And I've had some really great training.
being in the beverage industry affords you a lot of knowledge and getting to meet master distillers and people that you wouldn't normally meet under regular
Or even like
circumstances.
people at the Double Down Saloon where you meet people that become your friends
Yes.
on a Wednesday morning.
That was a Tuesday morning.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tuesday morning. See, it was a really fun time.
In case you're wondering what that was referencing, Lauren and I met at the Double Down Saloon here in Las Vegas. And I was there on a Tuesday morning for my regular sales call when I was a liquor rep.
And I was there also, but I love the history of that building too.
Absolutely. That is how the Ass Juice Club was born.
Yes. And the greatest thing is really, trying to figure out whose product ended up in the ass juice.
Yeah.
Like, did one of your items or possibly no charge items fulfill the need to make this jungle juice that is wonderfully beautiful and tastes amazing, but has a slight, if you're a connoisseur and in the industry, there's a slight difference between a Stoli blueberry based one and a Stoli raspberry.
Yes, absolutely.
Or a Finlandia grapefruit.
And as far as the ingredients goes,
it's a mystery.
I'm going to take a page from the owl from the Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop commercial and tell you that the world may never know. Or no one will know the ingredients in the ass juice.
But 3 of them will get you licked.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
So anyway, what do you think of the mezcal?
I think it's wonderful. I have had mezcal before. I used to sell a couple of different mezcals. And now, I mean, coming back to mezcal after all these years, I think that I am in love with this. It's very smooth. It's got a little smoke, but not a lot of smoke. And
a little ice cube in there. It could be a patio pounder.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Patio pounder for sure.
When did you start in this business?
I went to work for Red Bull in 2006.
Okay. And how long were you at Red Bull? Because Red Bull here was like different. You got to drive your own trucks and stuff, right?
No, I drove a van.
A van. Okay.
They hired me to do on-premise sales. I did not have any sales experience. They hired me strictly for my sparkling personality and possibly my boobs. I don't know. And I just took it and ran with it. And then 2.5 years later, I was promoted to management. I left in May of 2011 and I took the summer off to be a mom. And then I joined the world of liquor representation.
Was it as shocking to you as it was to me? Did Red Bull like get you prepped for that?
Well, it got me, I could sell. I mean, I had a lot to learn. When I first started out, I did not know what a wine varietal was.
Same. I didn't know anything.
I didn't know what a wine varietal was. And then I wanted to learn about beer and how like a tap room worked and how like you could have duplicate handles. Like you have one this kind of beer over here and the same one is on the tap over there. How does that work?
That? Yeah.
It's magic. Yes, so I wanted to learn everything I could about beer and I did.
I mean, at my interview, they just asked me if I knew about alcohol, and I said I went to college, and I feel like that's not a very revealing answer, but they seemed very pleased with it.
That's funny. But,
I was like,
No. And then my first year there, I was sales rep of the year, and I didn't even know what a varietal was when I started.
It's okay. You're a fast learner.
I'm a very fast learner.
And a natural salesperson, because I think you either are or you aren't.
Yeah, you have the sales gene or you don't. Some people do. Some people do.
I mean, when I learned it's just talking to people about stuff and asking them questions about themselves,
Right.
It turned into a really fun game.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, because I wouldn't change this for another career, even though during the pandemic, I thought I might have to do a couple of different things. But it's like nice. This is a nice town to also be in this industry.
Yeah.
Because it's like you get spoiled to like the best stuff and the coolest restaurants and really cool cocktails and amazing people.
Well, if it wasn't for this industry, I wouldn't know you, my friend.
I know. That's why I love it. Like some of my best people in my life have come from this business. And there's also a lot of crazy people. So it's also a fun people watching show.
Oh, absolutely. All day, every day.
I always say, I want to hear the gossip. I don't want to be it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that's all the time that we have. But thank you so much for stopping by.
Should we finish our Cavalon now that we're at the end and we don't have to worry about getting drunk?
Yes. Thank you very much for stopping by. That's all that we have for this episode. Again, my name is Tracy Bradley, and this is Thirst Trap, a beverage industry podcast. Produced and edited by Gonzo Greg Spillane for Noise Department. Our theme music is composed and performed by Jose Torres. Please like and subscribe wherever you enjoy your podcasts and share with your friends and associates in the beverage industry or anybody who drinks things. You can always visit and contact me at thirsttrappodcast.com, and you can find links to all the socials there as well. Till next time, cheers.